Does it ever baffle your brain when you hear the term corned beef? Not a single kernel of corn is involved, and yet we call it corned. It's a puzzling name for a dish that doesn't contain any corn. But alas, the term corned in corned beef has nothing to do with the golden yellow cereal grain we all know and love. The origins of the term corned beef can be traced back to the late 9th century. The Oxford English Dictionary reveals that people used the word corn to describe any small, hard particle of a grainy substance, like sand or salt. By the 16th century, the term corning came into existence. This process involved preserving food, particularly meat, with corns or grains of salt. Pork was corned, fish was corned, and naturally, beef too. Surprisingly, corned beef wasn't a household name in Ireland until the mid-17th century. At this time, Great Britain, with its love for beef, had established a booming cattle industry in Ireland, a place where cows were primarily used for dairy products and farm labor. According to Smithsonian Magazine, exporters moved tens of thousands of live cows from Ireland to England every year. This practice hindered the business of England's own cattle herders. In response to this, the British government enacted the Cattle Acts in the mid-17th century, limiting and eventually banning the importation of Irish cattle. However, Ireland was rich in salt and had a salt tax that was a fraction of England's. This prompted the Irish to start corning their beef and exporting it to England and eventually other countries. Despite this, the Irish themselves didn't partake much in corned beef. Their preference was for the much cheaper salt pork. This only changed in the early 19th century when high pork prices in the US forced Irish immigrants to find an affordable alternative. They found it in Jewish delis, where corned beef was a staple. Thus, corned beef and cabbage became the unofficial dish of St. Patrick's Day in America. However, if you're celebrating in Ireland, pork is still the preferred choice. So there you have it. The term corned beef has nothing to do with corn, but everything to do with the process of corning or preserving meat with salt. It's a term that has its roots in a historical practice shaped by economic circumstances and is now a part of our global culinary lexicon.